What is up, my friends? Lovecraft Country just keeps on giving us what we want to see. And let me tell you, if you finish this episode and you don't look at Lou Boudins the same way ever again, I do not blame you because I don't. And I probably said the name wrong, but hey, we're here to talk about this week's episode, which ended up insanely good. So pretty much the episode focused on metamorphosis, everybody from Ruby to Montrose. They went through a sort of renewal. A new person came out of a former shell. And in the case of Montrose, it was for the better. But I just want to go ahead and say that, man, Lovecraft Country is just delivering so far. And first and foremost, I want to talk about the Cabrini Green Holmes little cameo in there. Not just talking about Candyman, because that is a very good Candyman nod right there, but also with what I feel the whole series brushes upon as well, and that's redlining and accumulation of wealth that was done in a very racist way. And we can talk more about that whenever the show is complete, and we can definitely do breakdowns and all of that about the different things they talked about in this show. But for now, I just want to say I caught that one. But Lovecraft Country episode 5. We're 5 episodes in, and this show just keeps on getting better. I like how each episode feels like a very different theme, and it can even be a different show in itself. And you can kind of take each episode as an anthology episode, you could even say, because they all feel like they're all telling one story, but there's always the underlining story, which I love that the show does to weave it all together. This episode was more heavily, primarily focused on Ruby, Letty's sister, and her basically dealing with all the magic bullshit of William and Christina. Now, what ends up happening is she ends up getting this magic spell that allows her to... It's not a spell, it's a potion, by the way. Sorry. That allows her to become a white woman, and she pretty much uses this to go work at the department store. We saw her trying to go in earlier in the series to try and work, and we see she doesn't end up making it, and now she, as a white woman, ends up being assistant manager. And so we see her dealing with all of the stuff that comes with it, and she realizes that she is pretty much getting all of these passes, she's getting all of these advances just because of the color of her skin. And at first she's just like, well, I'll go ahead and rock with her, right? Who cares? But then she starts to realize slowly that, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. But the thing is that William tells her, you're going to do this now because now you owe me a favor because we got you into this in the first place. And that favor is something that you're going to do with Christina. And what they end up doing is going to that captain, which I talked to y'all about in the last episode breakdown, his office, and leaving a little totem, amulet, whatever you want to call it, in his office. There she finds another man hanging in the captain's office, pretty much almost dead, or is already dead and is just living on magic. I'm not too sure. We don't know for sure yet. But she ends up proceeding to do that, and then she's just like, I have had enough of this, and breaks down. She confronts Christina about it, and she's like, I need to know what the hell's going on. What's in that basement you and William keep hiding? It's always locked, and y'all are always coming in and out of it. And William's like, yeah, I'll talk to you about that, but not now. And then he suddenly just turns into Christina. So William is not here. We're not sure what's happened to William as of yet. I would assume he's dead from a story Christina talked about where she said that William had been shot by the captain and left for dead, but we're not sure about it yet. So Ruby has been dealing with Christina this whole time, and her big master plan is seemingly coming to fruition, I believe. I'm not sure about that yet, but we'll get more into the ending. So on the other side of things, you had Montrose, who we saw in the last episode kill the translator that was going to be helping Atticus translate the Son of Adam book and all of that. It says he's out to protect his son. Atticus, furious about this, beats him almost to death before Letty intervenes, and then we see Montrose leave. Now Montrose goes to Sammy, who he has had a relationship with, which was kind of alluded to since the beginning of the series, and we see that Montrose is starting to feel more comfortable in his own skin now. I love the whole episode, how it was showing us how Ruby was trying to live in somebody else's skin, but you could tell that it wasn't who she wanted to be, but she thought it's like the grass is greener on the other side type of deal. And we saw her living this other life in the skin. And I love how when the skin would come off, it'd be all grotesque and gross and all of that, because deep down, that's pretty much how it would feel like to have to be something you're not in order to fit in. But at the moment in time that they were in, that was the only way that they could ever get closer to anything, especially due to everything going on with race, and as well as people being pretty much assholes, as we saw in that one scene where Ruby first turned into the white woman, and she was pretty much like disoriented, and the police that went to go get her were accusing a young boy of doing something to her, which of course he didn't, and they didn't care. So that's what I'm saying, like, she pretty much is like in this skin living this life she thinks she wants to live, but she's also seeing how worse it is for people who weren't white at the time to pretty much live in this society that was just made only for a sole race, and everybody else was just discarded and left whatever. So I love that thing that they showed with the skin and everything, and that symbolism right there. Montrose, as I said, he is pretty much embracing that he is in love with Sammy, and at the time, I mean, you already have all of these racial injustices, and then you add on the homophobia that is very, very much so present in that time. And it's pretty much like, it reminded me of like Moonlight, where it's like double like the hate you get for everything. Sammy is the bar owner, of course, and he does hold drag shows and all of this. And this is where you see Montrose's metamorphosis happen, because he comes out to this show. He is fully embraced in this show and just pretty much letting himself go. And at that moment, it's pretty much like you see him like sprout his wings like a butterfly by the end of it all, and just he accepts that this is the person he loves, and this is where he wants to be to feel happy. And I feel like that was a very, very beautiful moment right there, especially laid down with the Frank Ocean track in the show. Very, very much so one of my favorite parts of the whole series so far. So back to Ruby in the end. She pretty much quits the job that she is in, and before she does that, she tricks the boss into pretty much getting fucked, literally. And what we see next is the best montage of Cardi B and Lovecraft Country you can think of. She pretty much gives the new definition to sticking it up the boss, because that's exactly what she does with the heels. And now, like I said in the beginning of the video, I can't look at Lou Boudons the same way, because those were definitely bloody shoes by the end of the episode. So all of that happened, and as well we saw Atticus decipher something from the book, and then he pretty much makes a phone call, and it is to the Korean woman that he fell in love with, that he talks to Letty about at a point when he was over there for the war. And it's clear that she knows a lot more about him than she was letting on. And I think next episode, as we saw from the preview, we're going to get those answers. And I wouldn't put it past Christina to not have orchestrated all of this way before, and maybe even back in Korea as well, gotten this woman to get some insight on Atticus or something like that. I wouldn't put it past her, because we can see that she's already very manipulative, and how she took on the shape of William to get Ruby to do her bidding, and just pretty much a cold-hearted bitch. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the next episode. What are your thoughts? This was one of my favorite episodes, definitely, and I cannot wait to check out what's next. Let me know what you think of Lovecraft Country so far, and what did you think about the ending, and who do you think this Korean woman is going to end up being? I think that she is definitely somebody who has been used by Christina, and Christina might have some leverage on her or something like that, and is using the inside information gathered about Atticus in order to continue what she's trying to do. And I think that's take the Son of Adam's book and use it for her own will. Anyways, as always, that is going to do it for me. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? We are on the road to 20,000 subscribers. We are so close to getting there, and I am definitely excited that we're about to hit 16,000 subscribers. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We got a ton of videos coming out today. Today is going to be a day called where I dump a bunch of videos that I wanted to get out last week, but they just kept on getting backed and backed and backed. So today's just going to be full on release, so get ready for that. But anyways, as always, I'll see all of you next time. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you like, comment, share, all that good stuff. Stay safe, stay positive.